Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
You are now listening to the Backlook Cinema Podcast with Zach and Zoe. Thank you for joining us as we talk about the movies of yesteryear. You can reach us on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter by searching for Backlook Cinema. Check our show notes for more info, and now, let's get it in.
Hi, this is Zach.
And this is Zoe, and welcome to the Backlook Cinema Podcast with Zach and Zoe, where we take a look back at the movies of yesteryear. And today, we just finished watching
Coming to America.
Can't wait to get back to come into... I forgot how the song goes. Oh, I remember now. Oh, say, can you see I'm coming to America? That's what I was looking for. Yes, Coming to America with Eddie Murphy in our City Hall. And this is our 17th episode as we continue with Black History Month, where we're going to celebrate Black history and Black excellence. And this was a great movie in Black history, and it is an example of Black excellence. And the reason that we started this podcast is because I wanted to strengthen the bond between father and son, between myself and Zach, and I wanted to make it a more perfect union, if you will. When I was growing up in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, there was all these wonderful movies that I saw before he was born, and now I wanted to bring forth and share these movies with him. So Zach is going to give us his impressions of the movie later on. Let you know how he liked it as a young millennial. So there. Give us some more info.
Yeah, you can get t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, face masks, and a bunch of other items at our website, backlookcinema.com.
And please, if you like our show, then rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. So, what have you been up to?
That you also got that, at backlookcinema.com, they can leave us direct feedback, comments, suggestions, etc. And also send email at fanmail@backlookcinema.com.
Oh, yeah, I did forget that.
Yeah, you
I?
did.
Oh, I read your part.
Exactly. Even though you haven't highlighted.
Yeah, no, I'm not even paying attention. I'm just so excited about this movie.
Oh, God.
The movie was awesome.
Oh, jeez.
So, what you been up to this week?
Oh, same old, playing games on my phone. The same games. Been grinding in one game called Dragon Ball Z Legends, and it's a pain because the game does not want to help me get to what I need to get.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that's getting one of the characters to 7 stars, so I can go ahead and summon to Zenkai Awaken them, and it's a pain.
Is it a free-to-play game?
Yeah, it's free to play.
Oh, well, good luck with that.
Yeah, and to make it like the reason why it's free to play because it's a gacha game. Because it's a gacha game, oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's a struggle just trying to save up the gems just to do 110 summons.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna quit playing Sniper 3D.
Oh, I already knew you wasn't gonna quit.
But I did not quit. So, you been watching shows?
No.
TV, nothing like that? Oh, okay. Any YouTube videos that caught your fancy?
Not that much, really. I've been watching a guy scoping things.
Did you see what's his name? What's the black dude's name?
Talking about Mighty Keith.
Mighty Keith. He did a review of Nintendo did this thing.
I already know the Nintendo Direct. I already knew because right. He was like it's like talking about Xenoblade, and I was like, I haven't gotten to that series, but you know what? Seeing the fandom for it, yeah,
Yeah, he's the only person that actually liked the Nintendo Direct. I've listened to other people on other shows that talk about video games, and they were very disappointed.
Of course it is, but they're also going to be disappointed.
Well, not really, because
they wanted news about Breath of the Wild. They didn't get it. It was like, oh, we got something about Skyward Sword. We don't care about Skyward Sword.
They want something, right? Skyward Sword is, apparently, it's the poorest Zelda game.
No, okay, so the reason why it's the poorest, and I'm saying that in quotes because there's another one that's poorer than that, but no one wants to talk about it because that's how bad it is.
Well,
the reason why it's poor is because of the Wii controls legit makes it hard to play. Not only that, because they had a new mechanic in there that none of the other Zelda games had before that, was the stamina system. You swing your sword, you consume stamina. You run, you consume stamina. You gliding down, you're consuming stamina. Almost any action that you have to do, consuming stamina.
Well, I think what it is that it's not one of the top games. Like it's not Majora's
Mask. Because people love the story. They just hated the controls.
Right. Well,
and to make it worse, you had to fight a boss called the Imprison. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. And on that 3rd time, you do have to hurry up and get down there to him. But you can't get there in time, not as fast as you want to, because you have to deal with enemies.
Right.
And because you have to run down there, you're using stamina. And because you're getting stopped at every single turn, and you have to fight, swinging your sword, you're using stamina.
So you like the game then?
I somewhat love it if it wasn't for the controls. But since it's coming on the Switch, I can enjoy it how I wanted to.
Right. So most of the people were not enthusiastic about that because they wanted a more higher profile game, and they wanted to see some new IP. Like there was one dude that he admittedly did not like. He doesn't like Nintendo. And the reason is because it's like Nintendo would get you to buy the same games over and over again.
See, this is what I like to call hypocrites. It's either you have the side that wants them to, port old games to the Switch, and then you have people that's like, just make a new game. They can't please everyone, and people don't understand that.
Well,
Nintendo's trying, but they just get caught by criticism left and right, no matter what.
It's not hypocrisy because it's different people. Like you said, if it's the same person, then it's not hypocrisy.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. It's like when it comes to the same people, they're hypocrites, and then you have the one side of the group that just only wants the ports, that don't want to move on. Then you have the people who do want to move on, but get upset because when they try, it's like, oh well, it didn't come out how I wanted to.
Right. Well, see. True Nintendo fans, like the real hardcore fans, they do want the ports of the older games. They do want that, and that's why Nintendo keeps making them because they know people will buy it. So, like me,
it depends on what the game is. Like people want F-Zero to come back, but Nintendo hasn't done anything. And it's either A, they just don't want to do with it, or B, they're just trying to figure out is anyone else going to try and do it?
Right.
Because I'm pretty sure they're like, hey, come on, we'll let anyone. Try to make this game happen again. Right. It's F-Zero. As you can see, we're not touching it. We basically put it in the bin where we don't touch things no more. Look at all the other stuff that we had. It's in that bin too. Come on.
Right. So,
like, look at Pokemon Snap. I'm trying to figure I think Capcom's doing it. I can't remember who. It was like we got them to do it. And as you can see, you love the animations from them because look at the animation. Look at the 3D works. It's Pokemon Snap on the Switch.
Well, you got to remember, they don't own Pokemon.
I mean, it's like 50-50. They technically kind of do. It's like 50-50.
Yeah, but it's like you're gonna have people that want new IP or at least new sequels, and Nintendo really didn't.
Metroid. I'm still waiting for my Metroid.
Yeah, and see that's what it's like. Basically, I think the general sentiment is that none of this needed a special announcement. Like they didn't have to have like a special event to announce these games. They just could have put out a regular trailer.
People are expecting Nintendo Direct now, especially when they first did it.
They haven't done it in like 3 or 4 years, right?
No, they've been doing it consistently. What are you talking about?
I think on one show that I listened to, it was like a year and a half. They hadn't done one in a year.
Yeah, a year and a half because
been a while.
That was just on the Wii U, and they was like, nothing really special. But when Nintendo Direct was more directed for like the 3DS, and now it's mainly for the Switch. So of course now they're just coming out regularly, not regularly, but when they do have something new coming out, they just go ahead and announce it, especially for Smash because people want to know about it.
Right.
So that's the main reason why Nintendo Direct is there is for Smash updates, along with future games coming out.
Right.
So I do expect some new things, but then also expect something else to happen there too.
Right. Anything else on YouTube, Catcher?
No, not really.
Not really. Any trailers or anything?
I mean, Mortal Kombat was there, and I seen some people like, "Oh, I don't like how Scorpion sounds. Just get over." I'm like, he's not gonna sound like the video game. Right. What is wrong with you people?
Right. Actually, he did a very good
job
mashup of how he sounds in the video game
and how Japanese.
His Japanese
and I'm like,
accent,
what is wrong? First of all, one, if they want to add sound effects, they can do that in the post. They're not gonna do that in a trailer. What is wrong with you? Right. Two. Get your head out of the 90s movies, please. I'm gonna need you to calm yourself down with
or
the
90s.
video
games.
Or to be like, they have the expectation up there.
Right.
Come on, his get over here should be like all the way up here. No.
Right.
Stop. It's a movie. Calm.
Personally, I am pleased that Raiden is going to be Japanese.
Yeah. Then I saw talking about, I don't like how Sub-Zero outfit look. I'm like, it's Sub-Zero.
I mean, his outfit has changed in every
multiple
video game.
times. It has been different. What do you want?
Not only that, but it really kind of looks like it came out of Mortal Kombat 11.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what? That's fine. That's good. That looks neat.
I'm very pleased.
The only thing I can't agree with fans upset is like Johnny Cage is not in it.
Yeah,
he's like replaced. He's replaced with this new character. I'm like, who is this new guy? I don't care about this new guy. Give me Johnny Cage. This is Mortal Kombat.
Well, actually, rumor is that and I'm not spoiling anything because it's just a rumor that it's not a new character. Because I tweeted the same thing. I was like, who is? I think his name is Cole. I was like, who is Cole?
Yeah, Cole.
I was like,
I think there is a Cole in Mortal Kombat, but
no, this.
I don't know.
But here's the thing, though. There are people that think that this is the second Sub-Zero because when you translate his name, it's the same name as the second Sub-Zero.
Right.
Because the Sub-Zero in this movie is Bihan.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually the first Sub-Zero who will be killed and eventually become Noob Saibot.
You know, it's funny. Like when I looked it up on who the characters were. It legit had the actor talking about Sub-Zero. I was like, well, I already know that's the first Sub-Zero. I don't need to take a guess. Talking about why is the Sub-Zero killing people? Like, this is not the Sub-Zero, no. Especially when the trailer shows you, like, okay, there's Jax. Oh my God, Sub-Zero, what are you doing? You're on the good side.
Well,
oh God, Jax.
He really wasn't on the good side in the first game.
Bihan, no, but
Bihan,
his brother, yes,
right. But see, that's neat. I'm glad. It's like they are taking some elements of the original story and they're putting it into the movie. But even though, see, I'm afraid because I remember how I loved the first Mortal Kombat movie. I remember it being a little cheesy, but I accepted the cheesiness.
The first one was good.
The second one was like way too cheesy.
I'm like, what is this nonsense? What is this like? And then when they're in the tunnel and Katana's trying to explain, I'm like, I have no idea what you're saying because we're in this weird tunnel in this stupid ball spinning around trying. What is this? This makes no sense.
I don't even remember Mortal Kombat 2, but I just remember that I didn't quite like it. I mean, they killed Johnny Cage off the bat.
That's not even Johnny Cage.
It wasn't the same Johnny Cage, and they killed him immediately.
That's not even him.
And the other thing is like I didn't appreciate about either movie is that you really didn't have like characters that were supposed to have powers didn't really show their powers. Not even Liu Kang in the first movie. I mean, you kind of see a little fireball at the very end of it, but in this movie, he got the fire off the break.
It's like, that. I can summon my fire. I can summon my dragon fire.
Right. Like, and Liu Kang looked exactly like Liu Kang in the video game.
Kung Lao. I was like, that's
a little bit
good.
Kung Lao. That's what I meant to say. But yeah, that's exciting. He had the hat and everything. What else I like?
I think Kano.
Goro looked outstanding.
Oh yeah, Goro. I was like, Goro, you look nice.
You know what's funny? There was a bait on what you call it, because it's leads on. I wanted to talk about the Justice League trailer. Have you seen that?
The Justice League trailer, no.
The Snyder Cut. So one of the things that people talked about, and they showed Darkseid in the Snyder Cut and how he looked, and it's like I am not enthusiastic about Darkseid because he just looks like a gray mass. It's like I feel like there are no accents in his uniform or his costume or whatever. It just it's basically it's faithful to the comic, but it's like it's boring. To me it's
that
boring.
Much you can do with him.
I mean, you could do something. I mean, he looks awesome in Injustice 2. He looks outstanding. If they'd have taken any of those character models for Darkseid and put him in this movie, I would have I'm down for it. But in this one, he just kind of looks like a blob, and I'm not enthusiastic about it. And so I got into a debate with people about that online. And then another thing I noticed is that if you look at the trailer, it looks like a square, like it was made for television. And I first looked at the trailer, I was like, why is it square? I don't understand this. And then it was explained that Snyder was actually shooting it for IMAX because IMAX screens are square.
Yeah.
And actually, when you look at when they shoot with actual film, the film is actual square. That's why TVs used to be square, is because film was square, and so the TV was square to match the film. But then later on, somebody decided, I think it was in the 1920s, they decided to use it shoot in a widescreen. So basically, it's still a square, but they would black out the top and the bottom.
Right.
So the filmmakers would have to frame their shot knowing that the top and the bottom would be cut off. And then other filmmakers followed that example. And that's why today everybody basically looks at films in the widescreen. But Zack Snyder decided, he wanted to shoot this in the IMAX. See, and the thing about it is that we're in a pandemic right now. And so there is nobody, or hardly anybody, going into an IMAX theater.
I mean, if you got the TV for it, then go ahead, go for it.
I mean, everybody has a TV for it, but most people are used to the black bars being on the top and bottom. Nobody's really used to seeing the black bars on the side unless they're watching a TV show. And so when you look at the Justice League, it's just going to feel like you're watching a TV show. So I'm not down with this decision. I'm going to have a hard time watching this movie. I mean, I'll watch it, but it's like, man, it's shaped like a TV show. I don't care what you tell me. I don't care if you tell me if you shot it as IMAX. I don't care if you tell me that I can see more than top and bottom. You're a director. You know how to frame a shot so that you get everything you want and it's widescreen. You know how to do this. I don't want to see a square on my television. I'm not going to go to the movie theater. I dang on sure can't go to IMAX to watch it. That is so disappointing. And then most people, when they make a movie, if they want to be shown on IMAX, they will shoot a version for regular theaters, and they will shoot a version for IMAX. They're not going to just shoot one version. It's like, I don't care what you want. This is the version you're going to watch, There's actually, even with, I think it was with Spider-Man Homecoming. No, not Homecoming. It was Far From Home and a couple of other movies. They shot it in a special way because it was a very special theater where the image wraps around you. So you have the image in the front, and then it continues on the side a little bit. And filmmakers had made a special print just for that. So if you watch in a regular theater, you would get the regular thing, and go to the special theater, you get the image where it kind of wraps around.
Right.
So he basically had two versions of it. So you can do stuff for people, right? You don't have to just do stuff for yourself. And I understand he's being all artistic and whatnot, but it's like, I don't care what anybody says. It'll feel like watching a TV show, and I will be disappointed. But I'll try to give it a shot.
Yeah. Another thing for the Mortal Kombat, it looks like Kano is on the good side. Because, they did have him on the good side for Mortal Kombat 2. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, that wasn't Mortal Kombat 2. He really had no choice but to be on the good side since, I think it was Khan who captured him, whatever. He was some, I forgot. I think it was in the comics or probably was in the comics. But yeah, he was like captured. He's like, I'm going to go ahead and be on the good side.
I mean, I guess we'll find out. Yeah. I am not all that pleased with how he looks, but
I mean, maybe he might get his metal plate, in the
fight. He's got red hair and he's got no metal plate. So I'm like,
he has like bonus.
Yeah, I know.
But you know what? I'm just happy he has that accent. I was like, ooh, there's a Kano accent I'm looking for.
Right.
That's the
because it's like when I saw him, it just made me miss the Kano from the first Mortal Kombat movie. When he.
Yeah, when you see him, it's like he's trying to have an American accent.
When he hits Sonya and then he comes into the arena and he's like, "Hello, baby. Did you miss me?" I'm gonna.
And then when you hear him, it was like Kano wins.
That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. They
beautiful.
showed some of the fatalities.
I was like, it looks like he was fighting Reptile. I was like, okay.
Yeah. I thought Reptile looked too much like a reptile.
I mean, it looks like they're borrowing something from almost every Mortal Kombat
Right.
I was like, he's supposed to look like it is, but then it's like,
Right.
They technically did the same thing in Mortal Kombat 2 where Liu Kang had to fight Reptile, and Reptile was an actual disgusting 3D looking reptile.
Right. And then, Melina was properly disgusting.
Oh, yeah, I was like, Melina, you are amazingly disgusting.
Right.
I love it.
Right. Licking her bloody sides. Like, yeah, that's Melina, all right. That is an appropriate
sadistic of Melina.
Right.
Nice. And you got the teeth?
Right.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Also, I've been watching WandaVision. So you decided to opt out of this series.
I was like,
Oh my God, it's so good. It is so good. Obviously, everything is spoiled for you. So I'm going to just spoil it for you. So what happened is that, so as you know, Wanda, and like we're recording this a week before this goes out. So by the time you hear this recording, you will have already seen episode 8. I'm talking about episode 7. So everybody who's listening right now will know all that I'm talking about. So
or
I'm not
maybe not.
anything.
So
Well, spoiler warning. Talk about spoilers, and you don't care because you haven't watched it. It's an awesome series. You need to check it out, even though I'm about to spoil it for you. So there are a number of mysteries that are set up in the show. So Wanda creates her own universe. It looks like a black and white TV show. First, it looks like an old Dick Van Dyke show, and then next time it looks like what did it look like? Bewitched. There was an old show called Bewitched about a witch that pretended to be a normal person, and every time she had guests or visitors, she had to hide the fact that she was a witch. So that's how they played the second episode of WandaVision. And then as each episode goes, it seems to progress in decades. So then you'll have something that looks like Family Ties, and then you'll have something that looks like I'm trying to think of the Brady Bunch. And now it's up to episode 7 is up to the modern era. So it's funny, right? Because they'll show outside the bubble. So when it's outside the bubble, it looks like a regular letterbox,
right,
like you're watching in a movie. When you're inside the bubble in Wanda's fantasy, it looks like it's a square. So it looks like you're watching on TV like the old days. But the square kind of gets bigger and bigger as it progresses. So now it's like full screen because they're imitating Modern Family.
Yep.
So, because it's like Modern Family, she's talking directly to the camera about her issues. Now it seems like she's losing her flowers because she shapes reality how she wants it, but things start to flicker. Like the TV starts flickering, it changes to different types of TVs, or her phone flickers, and she got different types of phones from different eras.
Yep.
So things like that's happening. And so she doesn't understand how this world was created, which she's come to believe that she's created it somehow. And but she has all these neighbors, and one of the main neighbors is Agnes. Agnes, her main neighbor, is almost like Agnes is trying to direct her. And it's like every time you watch a video that do episode breakdown, they always talk about how Agnes seems to be directing Wanda. And as it turned, and everybody has guessed that Agnes is actually Agatha Harkness, who's another witch, who in the comics guides Wanda. So it turns out they were right. Everybody was right.
Of course,
Agnes is Agatha Harkness, and she is causing all types of problems. Apparently she took control of Wanda in order to create this universe. So that's interesting. And then at the end of the episode, it shows all the scenes. Well, most of the scenes were Agnes, and it shows how she was controlling Wanda the entire time. And it's like it starts off with it's like opening an episode of her own show, and the name of that show is Agnes All Along. It was Agnes All Along was the name of the show, and they did hers to the tune of the Monsters. You don't remember the Monsters, do you?
No.
The Monsters was a comedy TV show which featured a family where Frankenstein was the father, the bride of Frankenstein, obviously his wife.
Is she a vampire or?
She's the bride of Frankenstein.
Okay.
And
I must be thinking of something because I remember there's Frankenstein himself, then there's Vampire Queen, and then you have their son who's basically half Frankenstein and half vampire. That's what I was thinking.
This is a different show. In this show, the son is a werewolf, and they have a grandfather who is Dracula, actual Dracula. They have a pet dragon, and I'm trying to think. Do I have another outside relative? I can't think of any outside relatives, but they have a daughter who's perfectly normal. She's got blue eyes. She's got blonde hair. She has no skin condition. She is perfectly normal, and she thinks she's ugly because she doesn't look anything. She's not a vampire or a werewolf or a Frankenstein. She's none of those things.
I would say, don't they have a mummy there too?
No, you think about a different show.
Okay, so I guess they don't have a mummy. Okay.
They may have had a cousin or something like that that's a mummy, but that's not part of the main family. So she goes out into the world thinking that she's ugly. Everybody else is normal. She's normal, but that's a funny show. So that's the show that Agnes aped, and it shows her controlling everybody the entire time. So I'm really excited for the 8th episode. I don't know how many episodes in there, but I'm excited about this because now we get to figure out how Agnes is going to further manipulate Wanda. So that's how that show is going to go. And what were you going to say?
No, continue on.
All right. So what was the other thing I was doing? Still playing the stupid sniper game because I can't let go. And I think and a bunch of YouTube videos. And I made you some food. How'd you like?
The food was really good.
Do you remember what it was?
No, I'm not saying the fancy words, so you can try to remember that.
Oh, I don't know because I made it several times. For Zachary, I made the croque madame. I gave him a choice. I said you can either have the croque monsieur, or you can have the croque madame. The only difference is that it's a fancy ham and cheese sandwich. The croque monsieur is just ham and cheese made in a fancy way, topped with bechamel sauce. The croque madame has a fried egg on top. So I really enjoy dabbling in trying to make different things. So that's what I made for him this time. One time I made pizza. One time, did I make anything last week? I think I just made breakfast, right?
Yeah. So you.
I made
breakfast.
chicken and waffles. That's what I did. So bonding activity. So that's basically all I've been doing. So yeah, let's get into talking about Coming to America. Tell the folks what's going on with this movie.
An extremely pampered African prince travels to Queens, New York, and goes undercover to find a wife that he can respect for her intelligence and will.
Released in June 29th, 1988 by Paramount, it grossed over $288 million worldwide on a $39 million budget. It had great reviews. Here's the thing. That was a super hit. That was a blockbuster, and I don't know if they even expected it to do blockbuster numbers. Even though I got the worldwide numbers, it still did around $200 million domestically. So the 88 was just a tiny bit extra. So I'm like, oh my God, I didn't realize it made that much money. I actually remember seeing this in the movie because you know how like you go in the movie and people got comments on stuff that happened.
Yep.
So yeah, I remember like I'm jumping ahead a bit, but there's one specific part where the dad tears up the check that the king tries to write him.
Yep.
Talk about, you're not going to do that to disrespect my daughter or whatever. And the audience is commenting, that's right, you tell him, So I remember that part specifically. So that's how I know I remember I seen this in the theater. This movie stars Eddie Murphy as Prince Akeem, Clarence, Saul, and Randy Watson. You've seen him on The Nutty Professor, Dreamgirls, Harlem Night, and most recently, My Name is Dolomite. And the reason I wanted to watch this movie is because very soon, Coming to America 2 will be coming out. It also stars Arsenio Hall as Semmi, Morris, Extremely Ugly Girl, and Reverend Brown. And he's famous for the Arsenio Hall Show. Both versions. He's also, I didn't realize this, he played Winston Zedmore in The Real Ghostbusters, the animated series. And he was also in Harlem Nights. It also has John Amos as Cleo McDowell. I thought this was interesting because his name is Cleo. We just did a movie, set it off with another character named Cleo. Right. So that's cool. He's most famous for Good Times. Is a sitcom, is a black family sitcom where he played the father. And it was so striking because I felt the same respect for him as I felt for my own father. Also, he was in Roots where he played one of the main, the adult Kutakite. He played in Sweet Badass Song, which I don't know anything about this movie, but I like the title of it, so I put it in there. And do you remember another movie that you might have seen this man in?
Apparently he was in Die Hard too.
Yes.
I don't recall what he... I'm going to guess he was the army guy that came in, but, we thought was good, but was really bad.
Yes, that's the same guy. That is John Amos. Yeah. I remember being so surprised seeing him in that movie. Also, James Earl Jones. He played King Jaffe Jafar. He was in Conan the Barbarian, Star Wars, Darth Vader's voice. In The Lion King, he was Mufasa in both versions. And he played in Hunt for the Red October as well as its sequels. You may continue.
Okay, I'm going to get these wrong because, yeah.
Go ahead. Do your best. I know they're hard.
Sari Hardley? No, Hardley. I'm good. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that might be it.
I think it's Headley.
Yeah. She was Lisa McDowell. You have Marge.
That would be Mage.
Okay. Sinclair as Queen Alone. Okay.
Remember she said it in the movie too.
Yeah, I know. But it's like, okay.
Let me give it a try. A.L. Leon.
A.L. Leon. Yeah, that might be. Cuba Gooding Jr., Frankie Faison, Samuel L. Jackson. Oh, goodness gracious.
Pretend that it's a C.
A C?
Yeah.
Sarek?
No, the last letter. Pretend that last letter is a C.
Oh, Eric. Okay, that works. Eric LaSalle. Louis Anderson.
Right. The E is silent, so it's Eric LaSalle. I included these because this is Cuba Gooding Jr.'s first theatrical appearance, and he's noted for a bunch of great movies. He's an Academy Award winner. Frankie Faison, just because I like Frankie Faison.
Wow.
Can you imagine who Frankie Faison is? Do you know who he was in the movie?
I want to say that white guy that was, in the barbershop.
No.
Okay.
No, that's not him, but
Was he in the barbershop?
No, he wasn't in the barbershop, but you're close. The location is close.
So he was the apartment owner.
Right, he was the apartment owner. And he's been in a bunch of movies. And he's just fun to watch. Of course, Samuel Jackson. This is one of his earliest movies.
Oh, yeah, I was like, that's Samuel Jackson. I can definitely tell that's Samuel Jackson.
Man, he is so impactful. I don't care where you see him at. In the early movies and the later movies, like, man, that's Samuel Jackson right there, man. He's doing this thing. His first Mother Fracker, and one of his earliest Mother Frackers in movies. And Louis Anderson, he is... one of the most outstanding comedians of that era, a young Louis Anderson. I just listened to an interview he did. Apparently, he did this over the summer, but he also hosted Family Feud for a little bit. But yeah, he's extraordinarily funny.
I'm surprised you didn't put the guy. I forgot his first name, but Seinfeld was there.
No, that's not Jerry Seinfeld.
I know, but he just had that last name.
He just had the last name.
Like,
yeah. He's probably a comedian, but I'm not. They had a lot of cameos in this movie, but I don't know a lot of people from the cameos. But I know that they were notable people because, like I said, Louis Anderson. That's definitely basically a cameo because he was people at that time knew who he was. He wasn't just some.
I just love how Murphy and Hall just had like extra roles.
Who?
Like Murphy and Hall, like as you.
Oh, you're right.
I was like, what is these extra? I was like, I couldn't even tell that's them because I was like, oh, that must be that's actually them.
Right. We'll talk about. We'll get into the characters they play. It was directed by John Landis, who also directed the Blues Brothers, National Lampoon's Animal House, An American Werewolf in London, and Trading Places. Which is funny because 3 of these are comedies. An American Werewolf in London is not a comedy, as you might have imagined. It's a horror movie. But he's just a great director, and he's done some great movies. This movie was written by Eddie Murphy, which I did not realize, and it was screenplay was by David Sheffield and Barry W. Blaustein. Allegedly, we'll get into that later on. This movie, the music is by Niles Rogers, and he's done some fantastic movies. He's done Taxi, Beverly Hills Cop 3, Super 8, bunch of other movies. The soundtrack was fantastic. Executive producer was Mark Lipsky, and man, that's just it's a fantastic movie. Can't wait to get into some more stuff.
So we're gonna go and take a short break, and we'll be right back to talk about our favorite parts of the movie, some movie trivia, and find out what are the critics' thoughts.
Hello, my name is Rich Hardson, Executive Director of Omni Consumer Products Logistics Division. I'm pleased to announce that OCP is coming to Detroit. Together with the Mayor and City Council, we'll be making a new Detroit. We will be working with the city and her citizens with our advanced technology and forward-thinking crime-fighting techniques to reduce crime, poverty, and in the process, create thousands of new jobs for the people of the city. We project exponential growth in Detroit, and we can do it for your city as well. If you want to reduce crime, poverty, and create employment opportunities for your area, then contact your city council, mayor, county executive, or your sheriff's office today. Let them know that you want OCP to do for your city what OCP is doing for Detroit. Thank you.
OCP. All right, we're back. Now, Zachary, let's talk about our favorite parts of the movie.
Okay, so one of the good scenes is when Akeem does go to America. When he's there, he's like, okay, what we're gonna do, we're gonna act like we're poor people. And after he says that and he goes off screen, you see 4 people carrying 4 different luggages. And I'm like, yeah, no one's gonna mistaken you as a poor person. That is not gonna happen.
Not just 4 luggages, but 4 cartloads.
Yeah,
of luggages.
cartloads. I'm like, no one's gonna mistake you as a poor person. You are there in coat.
Plus, he got this gigantic gold chain around his neck.
No one's gonna mistake that. Then he hops in front of the car and this whole other, I think he said stop or halt, one of the two.
Right, halt.
And I'm like, really? And he's like, hey, can you take us somewhere? He's like, what are you, a complete dumbass? I'm like, yeah, I think he is. Gets in the car, gets in the taxi. I don't know how they got all the bags there, but they somehow managed to get every single bag.
Yeah, they just packed it. They just put it on top of the car, behind the back window, in the trunk. I'm
like, okay.
Strapped it in.
And then, as they're driving, he's like, yeah, let's go to Queens. Like, the common part. He's like, the driver's like, yeah, sure.
He's like, it's all common.
It's all common. And then as they're driving, he's like, so, what's a dumbass? I'm like, yeah.
Right.
Just ask yourself. Ask your security guard what's a dumbass, as if he knows too.
Right.
Another good scene, when they do get to their destination in Queens, which is at a barbershop / apartment place. When they stop and they get the bags off, you see homeless people there. The moment they turn their backs and go inside, all the homeless people just go up, take all the bags and jewelry out, and then run off. I'm like,
they didn't. They take it out. They just took the luggage.
They just took the luggage. Just ran. I was like, wow.
They were quick.
And it's like the next day, they look and like, wait a minute. I think we found out who took our luggages. So I was like, yeah, I think so too. One guy comes up and I'm like, hey, you want some fancy toothbrushes? I got a bunch. I even got this fancy hair heat or whatever. And they're like, thief! I'm like, why are they even? I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to question why they go. You're French. You're coming from a richer, like, yeah, screw it. Yeah, your own kingdom. You have gold and everything. We understand.
Right.
Fine.
Right. Yeah, you got people wearing, all the people around them was now wearing all of their clothes.
I remember the scene where, he's talking to his father about how he wants to do his own things. And now they're talking privately. And then he's like, tell me what's wrong. You don't want your wife? Tell me, have you been sleeping with the people that bathe you? I know I have. I'm like, what?
That was so. I missed that the first. I think I've only seen this movie one time or maybe twice now. I missed that joke. I totally missed it.
You're telling me you have a wife and you can sleep. Okay, you know what? You're a king. It's your own kingdom. You do what you ever want to do. It's on you. Whatever.
Right.
I just can't.
I liked a little bit before that when he said it's his birthday. He just turned 21.
Birthday. I just turned 20. Can I bathe myself?
No, not can I bathe myself. He said, can I use the bathroom by myself?
Use the bathroom myself?
And the bodyguard was like, surely you jest, or something like that.
Yeah, no, surely you jest. I'm like, no, I'm not joking. I'm 21. I don't need someone in the bathroom with me, please. That's not right.
Right. If you notice, they had 2 toilets.
Yeah,
in the bathroom.
2 toilets. I'm like, I'm not gonna question why you have 2 toilets, but you have 2 toilets. That's you. That's on you. Whatever.
So go on.
Another good part is when he meets the daughter of can't remember his name off the
King
top.
Joffrey. No, you're talking about Cleo McDowell.
Yeah, Cleo, the daughter. Yeah, his daughter. He's astonished. He is amazed by it.
Right.
And he's like, that's the one I want. And he's so hypnotized by her. He, instead of him taking 2, 3, 100, no, he takes the whole clip out. And I was like, wow.
Right.
You are that hypnotized.
He just gave all of his money. This is during the Black Awareness event.
Yeah, the Black Awareness event, because they couldn't find any girls at a club.
At the clubs, right.
And each club they went to, it was always some strange woman that wasn't fit the billing. One of them wasn't even a woman, because that's a trans. And I was like,
No, I think it's I think it was a woman. It's just that it was an extremely ugly woman.
Oh, sure, it was a woman with a deep voice. Yeah, sure.
I'm gonna jump ahead. Do you know who that woman was?
I'm guessing it was Hall.
Yes, that was Arsenio Hall.
Because I was like, had it him since it was labeled as ugly woman.
Right.
Come on, I'll mess you and your friend up. I was like,
Right. I think he was supposed to be a natural woman, just an extremely ugly natural woman.
Then another good scene is when he's trying to get her attention and he's like just mopping left and right. I'm like, just go talk to her.
Right. Well, he had to be tactful because you can't. Because he knows that he's an employee, so he has to approach her as an employee, not as somebody that's trying to engage in a romantic conversation.
But when he does go by the third time, he's like, "Hi." She's like, "Hello." Goes back to what he's doing. "Hello." Hi.
Right.
Yeah, that is completely awkward.
Right.
Let's see. Another good one is, what was it? I'm trying to remember off my head. Oh yeah, they're at the house when they're having a party. Chloe basically is like, okay, guys, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna grab the keys, take the car, park it down the street, and I'm like, did you even ask if they knew how to drive first? Because
Well, he can assume that.
Yeah, he assumed that they knew how to drive
because
they was from Africa.
No, because they live in New York. I guess he just assumed that everybody drives. But the funny part is that, preceding that, this is after. There's a scene where Sam Jackson, he tries to rob the restaurant.
Oh, he robs the restaurant.
And Akeem and I forgot Arsenio Hall's name, Semmi. So they stop the robber. They use their fighting skills. They disarm and stop the robbery. And so Cleo is impressed, and so he invites them over to his house for a little get together. And they think they're going to be guests, but no, they're there to work.
They're just there to work. I'm like, wow.
So he tells them, actually, he's telling Semmi to park their cars.
Yeah, park there. I'm like, but you're leaving them out in the freezer. You're talking about when you're done with that, come inside, serve them drinks. I'm like, wow.
Right. And then, Akeem is immediately brought into the house to serve drinks. So, yeah, that was funny. Go on.
Let's see. What was another good one? It's like I'm trying to get good parts. Basically, any barbershop scene.
Yes.
That was good because they're in there. It's like really any real barbershop is.
Right.
You go in, you got the guy just rambling on. I'm like, okay,
right.
Are you gonna cut my hair? Or are you gonna talk? Which one are you gonna do? Please tell me.
Right.
What's another good one? I'm trying to remember. You got one? Did you want to go on as I try to think?
Like you said, all the barbershop scenes that one of them featured, Cuba Gooding Jr. So, like when they're talking about the one that sticks with me, and I think about all the time, is when they're talking about their favorite boxers. So that's the one when one of the dude was. They were like, his name was Cassius Clay. No, his name. He's like, I liked him until he changed his name to Muhammad Ali. I don't like that. And then the Jewish guy said, well, if he wants to be Muhammad Ali, he should be called Muhammad Ali. And then the other guy was like, well, his mama called him Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay. And I'm just like,
I'm gonna call him Clay too. Over there talking about, I met Martin Luther King. You ain't meet no Martin Luther King. I did.
Right. He's like, I was walking down the street, somebody knocked him down, and I looked up, and it was Martin Luther King. It's like, you did not meet Martin Luther King. This dude is always lying about somebody he met.
Of course he's always lying. It's just like, it's like really hard trying to... Well, yeah, when the king actually came to America, the king himself, he comes in, the first place he goes is to the apartments. He goes to the barbershop, goes down, talking about, where's Akeem? Who? My son. Akeem's like, oh, I think he's talking about him. Oh, yeah, he lives upstairs on the 5th floor. Goes up there, knocks on the door, and the guy's like, you may enter.
Right,
I'm like, wow, you're royalty.
Because what happened is that earlier, what's his name?
Sammy.
Semmi had did something.
Basically, Sammy was mad because, he's living like a poor person.
Right.
He's supposed to be living in a nice place.
Right. He's not used. Semmi is used to luxury, and he like, doesn't like living like a poor person.
He's like, I'm not going to work today.
Right.
And then Akeem's like, you know what? Fine. If you want to be like, what it was, he knocked something over. I think it was like some cups. He's like, then you can clean it up. So I'm like, clean all this up then.
And you still going to work.
Yeah.
Right.
And then when he comes back from the house because he wants to cook Chloe dinner at his house, which he claims is poor, which it was at first. He gets there, opens up the door. He notices that there's a hot pour, a brand new TV.
No, not a hot. What do they call that? It's a
jacuzzi.
Yeah, jacuzzi.
It was like I was like, wow.
He done Semmi done installed a jacuzzi, got a stereo set, got
up everything.
Nice
just
TV,
made it
got
look
lighting.
rich.
He done totally redecorated the place. It looks like a luxurious apartment.
And then he was like, just give me a moment, hold on a second. Goes in, talking about, what are you doing? We're supposed to be looking like we're poor. We're not supposed to be looking like just like, listen, told me to clean up.
Right. He said, you told me to fix up the place. So Akeem arranges it so they switch apartment with the landlord. It's like, is your apartment very poor? And it's like, yeah, it's a real crap hole.
Like, wow. You just want it.
So the landlord is in Akeem's apartment. Akeem had taken the landlord's apartment. So when the king goes to what he is told is Akeem's apartment on the 5th floor, and the landlord is like, you may enter. He up there chilling in the bathtub, looking all nice.
And then he's talking about, where's Akeem? Talking about, I don't know. Talking about, but this is his place. No. Then why is his employee of the month is up there? And he's like, wait, my son is working?
Right.
Why is my son working?
He looks, it's like, what is this? It's like, it's a photograph. It's like, what is this? What is McDowell's? It's like, that's where he works. My son works?
He's like, where is my son? Oh, downstairs 1A. He goes down there. He sees Sammy. He's like, Sammy, where's my son? He's like, oh, I don't know. He went somewhere. I don't know where he went. And he's like, you're supposed to be looking after him. He was like, listen, he gone AWOL. He went crazy. I can't. I try and I can't. He was like, you know what? I'm disappointed in you. You will go. I forgot where he sent them.
No, here's
to
what
some
happened.
fancy spa.
I remember like when he took him and he jacked him up against the door.
He just jacked him against the door. And I'm like, jeez.
So he said he's supposed to be punishing Semmi.
Punish.
This is his punishment. You're gonna go to the most fanciest hotel in New York City, and you're gonna stay in that room, and then one of my servants will bathe you thoroughly.
Come on, and get him some actual clothing.
Right,
like,
get him some proper attire.
Not even punishment. That man is smart. He's like, yes, sir. He's like, and he looks down. He's like, disappointed. I'm like, no, you can't lie
now. To fake being disappointed.
Wait, what kind of world is this you're living in where you're punished? Like, that's not even punishment.
Right. He had to fake the disappointment and punishment. And then, so what else you got?
That's what I'm trying to remember. Oh, when he does go to McDowell's, he goes there. And, before he gets there, Mr. McDowell is looking at a manual that clearly says McDonald's.
Right.
Now, before that, he is trying to claim that, him and McDonald's aren't the same thing. It's just a coincidence that his logo looks like an M.
Right.
He's like, McDonald's have the golden arcs. I have arc. And I'm like, that doesn't change anything.
That's another thing that sticks with me from watching this movie. He's like, me and McDonald's have a little misunderstanding.
Like, you sure about that?
They have the golden arches. We have the golden arcs. Like, they're McDonald's. I'm McDowell's. I'm like, we both have 2 all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, and onions. They have sesame seeds on their buns. We ain't got no seeds on our bun.
No, then before that, I think he was like talking about when they had their Big Mac. I had a big McDowell.
Right.
I was like, that doesn't.
The Big Mick.
Oh yeah, the Big Mick. I'm like, that doesn't change anything. And like even before that, you have a guy taking pictures of his place.
Right.
And I'm like, you're just in a whole world of trouble.
Something
doing
like that actually happened during shooting, but we'll get into that later.
I'm like, you're just in another world. And he puts the manual down. One of the police talking about there's some guy here to see you. Is it McDonald's lawyers? It's like, no, I don't think so.
Right. And that's when he goes out and he meets the king. That's when Cleo goes out, meets the king of Zamunda. And so it's funny how his whole attitude changed towards
he was like
Akeem.
He goes from, okay, you're just my worker. I don't care about you. She's like, hey, buddy, what's going on?
Right.
How you doing? Can I get you a glass of water? Let me get you some wine.
Right. Another funny thing about that particular scene, since we're on it, so he's talking to him, and then the king, he tells the king that he'll go ahead and let Akeem know that the king is there and the king wants to see him.
He's
And
like,
he says,
no.
no, don't alert him to my presence. And that's funny because when he says those lines, he's gone full on Darth Vader. It's like you hear Darth Vader when you hear him speak those lines. And I thought that was totally awesome.
Let's see another good one. When they're at when Chloe and Akeem is at the house, her ex comes by, because he was told to come by Mr.
Cleo.
Cleo,
right,
yeah,
McDowell, right,
Mr.
right.
McDowell. And he's there. He goes up to open the door. He sees him, slams in his face immediately.
Right,
I was like, wow.
You gotta set up the whole scene.
What I got?
So here's what because you gotta set it all up. So what happens is that what you call Akeem and Lisa, the love interest, Lisa McDowell ends up at her family's place, and now by this time, Cleo McDowell, the father, knows about Akeem. He knows Akeem is a prince.
You should really set it up properly. The reason why they're at the house is because Akeem tried to take her back to the apartment, and he noticed the flower petals on the ground. He's like, oh no. He's like, wait here in the car. Goes down to where he's living, and he sees the note talking about Akeem. I have went to this fancy spa for my punishment. I'm like, stop saying it's a punishment.
Right. So yeah, he sees the note that Semmi left. He sees the flower petals, so now he knows.
He's like, let's go to your house. I think that's perfect. Let me just take you home.
So yeah, so they go to her place. They end up there. By now, Cleo McDowell, he knows that Akeem is a prince, and he tries. And Akeem just wants to leave because
he wants to leave, and Chloe is doing his hardest.
He wants to go to where his father is. He needs to see his father because he knows his father is there. And but McDowell is desperately trying to keep him there at the house. So while he's trying to keep Akeem there, does not come up on the door.
Actually, it was a ring on the doorbell.
Right.
The doorbell rings. He goes there. I can't even remember his name anyway.
Just say the boyfriend.
Yeah, the ex-boyfriend sees him, slams the door in his face.
Right.
I was like, wow. Then he rings the doorbell again, and he's like, hold on, I'll be right back. Goes towards the door, opens it up. He's like, I'm here because you told me. He's like, listen, he still don't love you no more. Now scram. Slams the door in his face. Goes right back down to Akeem and Lisa. This time he's knocking on the door. So he runs up the steps, trips, looks back like, I'm good. Right. Then goes towards the door. He's like, listen, I warned you. Tell him. And then, told the dog to attack the guy. I was like,
the tiny little dog.
I was like, wow.
It's funny that he changed a little tiny dog to attack people.
I'm like, okay.
So, you good?
I think this is the last. Two more is basically when they're on the train, and everyone is in their business as he's trying to talk to Lisa. I'm like, and since I have to set it up, the king had went to Lisa and told her basically a lie, saying,
No, it wasn't a lie. It's the truth as he saw it.
He
saw, as far as he was concerned,
Akeem is already married.
Right.
But not fully married, but scheduled.
Right, scheduled
and he
to be
wasn't
married.
there to love her, just plant the seed and then come back home. She got mad, left, and she's walking out in the rain. And when Akeem gets to Lisa's house, he's like, like, what, Father, why are you here? He's like, oh, I'm here to take you home. He's like, no, I don't want to because I found the woman that I wanted. He was like, no, you don't really love her. And then this is when the wife intervened, talking about, you don't know that.
Right.
And he's like, Akeem, do you really love her? He's like, yes. Then go to her. And then he leaves, and then the king's like, Akeem, I forbid you. And then she's like, oh, put a thing, it's a sock over.
Right, put a sock.
And I was like, wow.
Right.
You're supposed to be, so-called trained to be obedient.
Okay. Right.
So he goes, he's in the car. He sees her go, near a subway, near the steps of the subway. He gets out, but actually before that, he calls out to her. And then she goes down the subway. He gets out. He looks at his guard. He's like, just stay. Tell him I'll be right back. Stay here. So he's out there just holding the umbrella. I'm like, wow, man. Goes down. She gets in the train, and then he follows suit, and trying to talk to her. And like they're in the first car of the train. She gives him back the earrings. Goes to the other car. He follows up behind her, and they, that's when they're talking. Talking about how he loves her, and what his father said isn't really the truth because he loves her. And again, she's devastated and upset by that. But, still him being a prince and not really telling her. she's like, well, I just don't know anymore. Now, he's like, I denounce my kingdom. I denounce myself being a prince. In front of everyone who doesn't belong in his kingdom. This is people on the train. This denouncing his prince authorities. And he's like, see, does that make you better? Would it not, if I really was a goat farmer, would you have loved me not? And then again, she's like, I don't know. And then again, he's like, come on. Well, if you didn't love me, you would say it. Do you? And then, who was it? He's like, is it a yes or a no? And then everyone's like nodding their heads. You got one talking about, just say yes. I'm like, what is wrong with you people? You're bugging it. I'm like, I understand that, they're being all loud and stuff, but you're really in their business.
Right. They were way into their business, having to make life decisions.
I'm like, wow. And then, the train stops. Lisa gets off, still upset. Then I want to say she's like in her 60s, 70s.
Right.
Comes up talking about, well, I'll marry you. I'm like, what? And he just goes ahead, gives her the earrings, stays on the train until the door closes. And I'm like, yeah, that's just him telling you, keep the earrings, but that's a no.
Right.
And then the last part would be the end credits where the Jewish guy is basically telling this joke. And then he gets to the punchline. Everyone's looking at him like, you set up that joke. You made that joke just for that setup line. I'm disappointed.
It wasn't even funny. It wasn't
even funny. He thinks it's funny, but everyone else like, that is not even funny. Just, what is wrong with you?
That's one of the first after credit scenes that I've ever seen. So I basically like it, all the parts that you like, and plus there are two things that I wanted to hit on. One was basically every time Semmi overstepped his rounds, you could see when he was like, of all the servants that Akeem has, Semmi is his closest servant, his closest friend, and Semmi is allowed a lot of latitude with respect to how he talks to the prince or whatever.
Oh yeah,
there's a lot of talk back with Akeem. There's a lot of he's allowed to argue with him. He's allowed to disagree with him. But he can only up to a point.
Up to a point, and then you see Akeem just look at him, glare at him. He's like, okay, back to what I was doing.
Right.
Because like when he got that, what was it? Smoothie thrown on him.
Akeem,
Semmi is laughing, and Akeem just glared at him. He's like, okay, back to work.
Right.
Immediately went from laughing to back to work. I was like, wow.
Right. So yeah, I think that was the first time. So every time Semmi got close to the line, that was funny. Also, when they went to the basketball game, so Lisa McDowell has a little sister, and little sister is attracted to Akeem. Akeem is not interested in little sister. He's trying to get Lisa. Lisa already has boyfriend, who we call boyfriend, because I can't remember his name. So they're all at the game, and then the first funny part is that they're trying to watch the game as Akeem is trying to get Lisa interested in him. Lisa's little sister is rubbing on him.
Rubbing on him, and then he's just trying to make it not noticeable.
Right.
He's like, you know what? I'll be right back. I'm gonna go use the bathroom.
Right.
Goes to the bathroom.
So that was funny.
Standing in the line, and you have one guy come out. He's like, "You're the prince."
Right.
I'm like, wow, and everyone's looking at him like some madman. Like,
right. They is completely lost his mind. He's like, I am a loyal subject of the kingdom of Zamunda, so it's the greatest day of my life.
He's like, yes, it's like, excuse me, and he walks away, and they follow him. Talking about, please, let's get a picture. Gets the picture. Lisa and the boyfriend is there, and they see the.
And they say all this adulation towards the prince.
And they're talking about what's going on. Talking about, I just met him in the bathroom. They're like,
which is exactly the wrong thing to say.
I'm like, that's the wrong thing. I'm like, you don't want to say you met them in the bathroom.
Right.
See, at that point, you might as well just told her the truth that I'm a prince.
Right.
Especially when they was doing all the head bowing on the hand. Yeah.
Right.
No, that's a prince thing to do.
Right. So that part was hilarious. So yeah, all the barbershop stuff was awesome. It was to me, it was like a bunch of skits that was sort of wrapped around a romantic comedy.
Yeah.
So it was great. I knew it was a risk because this is kind of a kind of romantic comedy, but
it was more focused on comedy. Now
right.
I'm okay with
this
that.
movie is just so funny. It has so many gags. Like the movie went into an entirely different direction whenever they was in the barbershop. So So that was awesome. And yeah, so and now we're ready for Coming to America too. Was there anything in this movie that you may have seen in other media that like memes or anything like that? Like you've seen
I
in
mean, I think Family Guy has done a couple of Coming to America memes before.
probably, yeah. But
That's about it.
right, right.
Probably Robot Chicken too, but
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Robot Chicken has done it. So let's go ahead and get into some trivia. So the McDowell's restaurant was actually a Wendy's on Queens Boulevard that was scheduled to be closed for renovation. The production had approval from McDonald's Corporation headquarters, which apparently didn't pass a word to their local outlets. On the day McDowell's sign went up, the manager of the McDonald's 1/2 mile up the road arrived with his lawyer and took photographs telling the set dressing crew that they were going to be sued for everything they were worth. The restaurant remained in business until early 2013. The building has since been demolished. So
just imagine like that they just captured this guy there taking a picture and like, you know what? We're gonna have this in the film. We're gonna have someone.
I don't think that particular photographer for the lawyer.
No, I know. I'm saying like they just thought like
yeah,
since they
right.
started like, you know what? That'd be a good gag.
Right.
Let's have someone come down, take a picture, and then get chased off by the manager.
Right.
That would be really good.
Right.
Also, can we tell them that we got approval from McDonald's because like what's wrong with them? Did they not get told the word?
Right. They were not. No one passed the word to them.
After the makeup and clothing was applied for the Jewish character Saul, Eddie Murphy wanted to test the makeup and costume out. He got a golf cart and drove from one studio department to another in Paramount Studios. He would get out of the car and say in his regular voice, "Hi, I'm Eddie Murphy." No one believed him. That's how good the makeup was when they're like, "Yeah, that's not Eddie Murphy. Right. You ain't no Eddie Murphy."
And I didn't mention this before, but the makeup was by legendary Rick Baker. He's the same dude that did the creature effects for Star Wars. So the homeless man that received the money from Prince Akeem, Eddie Murphy, are the Duke brothers, Ralph Bellamy and Don Amachi, from Trading Places, 1983. Also directed by John Landis. In that movie, Billy Ray Valentine, Murphy, was responsible for the Dukes losing their fortune.
See, I think that's what it's talking about. Hey, we're back in business.
Right,
I was like,
right.
What are they talking about? You're just two homeless. What businesses you have?
Right. The funny thing is that I had never seen Trading Places, so when I saw this movie, I didn't get the reference. So I was only told about it the same way I'm telling you about it.
John Landis and Eddie Murphy did not get along, and Murphy vowed to never work with Landis again. The two later reconciled, and Murphy personally asked Landis to direct Beverly Hills Cop 3 that came out in 1994.
This was the first time Eddie Murphy played multiple characters in the same film, which became a trademark of his. And you think of like the Nutty Professor and movies like that.
Humorist and columnist Art Buchwald sued Paramount Pictures alleging they stole his script idea and turned it into this movie. Buchwald won and was awarded damages. Paramount settled for $900,000.
See, when I said the other screenwriters allegedly, so I believe Eddie probably wrote the kernel of the story, but screenwriters have a tendency to take it and turn it around a little bit. So I don't know how much of it was Eddie Murphy's and how much it was the screenwriters, but
like chances are it was probably just a coincidence.
No, it probably was, but most likely the screenwriters probably did, or Paramount probably did lift this story because studios, they have a tendency of doing that. And as you can see, they settled out of court. So in the credits, the fictitious Zamunda Film Commission is thanked. The name of the fictional African country the main character is called Zamunda. This name was taken from a Richard Pryor routine where he referred to a fictional African tribe of the same name.
That's interesting.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that flag is legit. I felt like it was.
No,
probably wasn't, but I was like that. The names of the movie, I was like, what do I feel like that is? Probably something, but just spoofed a little bit.
No, it's just something to honor Richard Pryor.
Most of the dance performed by the royal dancers before presenting Prince Akeem's Queen to Be is a high-tempo rendition of the dance from Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Have you ever seen that video?
Michael Jackson Thriller? Yeah, but I was like, it felt familiar. I was like, why does it
you
look
can see some of the moves
too,
bit. Especially when they do that thing where they clap their hands.
Yeah, I was like,
I was like, because I didn't notice that before, but I was like, yeah, it is Thriller. According to John Landis, it was his idea to have Eddie Murphy wear makeup to play a Jewish man as a sort of a payback for Jewish comedians wearing blackface in the early 1900s. That's pretty neat.
At around 23 minutes, airport scenes in this film and Into the Night that came out in 1985 have a call over the PA system for Mr. Frank
that's a good one, ain't it?
Ozanowicz?
Let me try this. Osnowitz.
That works. To pick up the white courtesy phone. This is Frank Oz's real name.
Wow, right? That's pretty neat. The barbers call Akeem Kunta Kinte. John Amos played the adult Kunta Kinte in Roots, 1977. Madge Sinclair played Kunta Kinte's wife. You remember who Madge Sinclair is?
No. She was the queen. No.
Right, she was the queen. So they actually worked together before in Roots. And James Earl Jones played Alex Haley Jr. in Roots: The Next Generation, 1979. So yeah, that's some awesome connection right there. It's the next page. There's another page. You can get it?
It's acting weird. And I was like, what's going on? There it is. It didn't really load.
Oh, okay.
Cuba Gooding Jr. and Oscar.
Wait a minute. That's not it. You way down.
Are you sure?
O.
Yeah. An M?
Yeah.
I already read M. M-N-O-P. Do you not know your ABCs?
Oh, shoot. Maybe it didn't give it to you right. Because I got M is around
34 minutes.
Yeah, you didn't read that.
Okay. Because I'm looking at, the parentheses.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
At around 24 minutes, the song I Got It that plays in the background was Semmi, who known as, Semmi, Arsenio Hall, and Prince Akeem, Eddie Murphy, walked into the club was sung by Eddie.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, it's snug? No, it's sung.
Right. I didn't realize that. He provided some music to the for the movie. John Amos, whose character Cleo McDowell shamelessly copies McDonald's, had a long history with McDonald's in real life. At one point, Amos worked at the first ever McDonald's restaurant in Canada, and he also starred in the famous song and dance McDonald's commercial in 1971, Grab a Bucket and a Mop. The scene when Cleo stares strangely at Akeem trying to use a bucket and mop is an in-joke reference to this commercial.
Okay. Cuba Gooding Jr., an Oscar winner, and Vondie Curtis Hall, an Emmy and SAG award nominee, made their first on-screen appearance in this film.
Right. Cuba Gooding Jr. was the dude getting his haircut. I don't think he had any lines in this movie either.
No, he did. He just sat in the chair.
Right, he just sat in his hair.
That's all he had to do.
They did shoot a scene where he had lines, but they cut it out. The South African band that sings during the opening credits is Ladysmith Black Mambazo, or Mambazo. I almost got it. The same band that appears on Paul Simon's Grammy Award-winning album Graceland a few years earlier, in which they received worldwide recognition. Before I continue, do you recognize the song at the beginning of the movie? Does it sound in any way familiar?
I want to say Lion King, but I'm just not 100% sure.
Well, the song they sing is a cover of Mabumbe, an African song which is later adapted in English as The Lion Sleeps Tonight.
I was like, this sounds like Lion. I was like, this sounds like Lion King. What is it?
Wee bum bum boy.
Why does it sound familiar? I can't.
Right, that's it.
When King Jaffe Joffer, James Earl Jones, comes looking for his son Akeem at McDowell's restaurant, his line, "No, do not alert him to my presence. I shall deal with him myself," is a homage to Darth Vader, who is voiced by Jones, who in Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, that came out in 1983, has a similar line. No, leave them to me. I will deal with them myself.
Yes. That's why I say he sounds the most like Darth Vader in that when he says those lines. Let's we talked about how we felt about the movie. What'd you feel about this movie?
It was real good.
It was real good.
Really good.
It was a tasty treat. So critics gave it a 67% on Rotten Tomatoes. The audience gave it 85 because critics are strange. On Rotten Tomatoes, that was Rotten Tomatoes. Metascore was 47%, and I don't understand. Like I said, don't understand Metacritic, but it was only 47%. So there, what did critics think? Dwayne Bargy.
Or Burge.
I've come across this name before. We've talked about this name. It's strange. It's a bunch of consonants that don't belong together. Anyways, he says, he's from the Hollywood Reporter. He wrote, this comedy is generally tame and sappy. What we get is homogenized Eddie Murphy, drained of his kinetic comic charm and smiling sass, which is a strange thing to criticize. This movie was totally awesome. Yeah, Eddie Murphy playing different characters. I don't know what movie this dude was watching. You had Kathleen Carroll of the New York Daily News. She writes, Murphy has dealt audiences the movie equivalent of a royal flush, and he is now clearly Hollywood's reigning king of comedy. See, now this person knows what she's talking about. Richard this is good.
Sickle?
Schickel. We'll go with Schickel. Richard Schickel of Time Magazine wrote, the director is rather distracted. John Landis seems to be browsing through the scenes rather than gobbling them down.
That makes no sense, but whatever.
Yeah, I know. Me too. And finally, Jeffrey M. Anderson from Combustible Celluloid. Landis takes a very specific joy in the act of movie making and calls attention to placing it at a level above the romantic story, which is actually correct. It's barely a romantic comedy, but and if it's handled by anybody else, it would have been straight up like When Mary Had Met Sally or something like that. It would have been more serious and funny, but it was basically a bunch of gag that encapsulate a romantic comedy. It was great. I enjoyed it when it came out. I enjoyed it on this watching, as you heard me laughing throughout the entire movie, and actually catching jokes now that I didn't catch in my 20s. Actually, it came out in 1988, so I was a junior in high school. So when I was a teenager, I caught new jokes. So that's pretty awesome when you can find new things and stuff that you love. So man, that was great. Do you have any final thoughts on this?
No, any final thoughts. It was a good movie, really good.
All right. So
go ahead. Recommend you watch it, buy it, and get the DVD yourself.
I recommend that you watch this movie. Right now, you can find it on Amazon Prime for free because it's free if you have Amazon Prime.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure they just have regular Amazon. They don't got it, then you know.
Right. And that is because Amazon Prime will be releasing Coming to America too. And next episode is Lean on Me. We're gonna get Sirs. Up in this piece. It's funny because I keep confusing it with another movie, but the movie we gonna watch is Lean on Me. And if you like this show, and I'm sure you did, please give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. Believe me, it matters. It helps the show grow. Also, if you have family members or friends and you know their taste, go ahead, recommend this show. Share this show. Give them a link. Let them know that this show is awesome. And one final thing, be safe, hug your family, hug your loved ones, and be outstanding. Thanks.